Guys, it's the second week we're doing this, so this time we definitely fucking have it under control, right, Kate?
Yeah, it only took us 10 minutes longer than last time to get ready.
Hey, that's progress in my book. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I miss you.
I miss you too, man.
And you have Ella helping you out today, right?
Yep, Ella is helping on sound. Do you want to say hi?
Say hi, Ella.
Hi.
Hi, Ella. Oh man, isn't it great how everyone's just willing to help the podcast out in times of need when we don't know what the fuck we're doing?
Yeah.
It's the season of giving or some shit.
Yeah.
Hey, you had to get up really early this morning because you took little Peter into the vet.
I did. I took Pete to the vet. The thing is, he didn't even need to go. Technically, he has kitty herpes. But
Peter has herpes.
He has kitty herpes, which sucks only because I'm going home and my friend is going to stay with him and has to now give him like powder in his food.
But he's a fine, healthy young boy.
Yeah, he's fine. I just, you know how I worry.
You can have herpes and live a totally full, fulfilling life.
Kelsey, your argument for herpes will never convince me.
Okay, listen. I don't have herpes myself, but I know people that do have it, and they are fine.
Yeah, it's
and
fine.
And they fuck all the time.
He just has an upper respiratory. Well, human herpes is very different than cat herpes.
Are you sure? Prove it.
Yeah, cat herpes is an upper respiratory thing.
But you're going home to Philly this week, today, right?
I'm going to Philly today, yeah. My home is in Wilkes-Barre, Kingston.
I don't know what any of that is, but it sounds fun. If you want to, I really want to go to Philly and do like a live show because I fucking love
That's
Philly.
where I want to do a live show. Also, thank you to everybody who messaged us about coming to speak at your colleges. The thing is, we need you to get your college to ask us. I'll go to anywhere.
But it is good to know, like, put feelers out there of where people are listening and all that jazz. Kate, did you come?
I did not come yet.
Can you tell the story about Quinta asking you about it?
Yeah, so I was hanging out with Quinta and she was like, Kate, about the podcast, I've been listening. And I was like, oh, it felt very serious. And then I was like, what? And she just goes, did you come yet? I was like,
I think like Quinta's your very best friend. Like you guys have been friends for years and we've been friends for a couple years now. And like, I don't know how this was just a topic we never covered. There's
not really a lot of times in regular situations to be like, yeah, I'll have grilled cheese. Also, just in my personal life, I've never come. You know, like it's a weird way to.
I made a grilled cheese the other day. It was really good. Fun fact, if you use mayonnaise instead of butter, it's way better. So you spread mayonnaise on the outside of it before you put it in the pan. Just a little fun trick you guys should try.
Everything you just said was very Florida.
Wow, it's rubbing off on me, dude. It's not really a vacation here because I'm working every day that I'm here.
Yeah.
But boy, let me tell you, I have so much time on my hands, literally, that I don't know what else to do except for masturbate and watch Jersey Shore. They're re-showing all of the Jersey Shore. I forgot how good that show was.
Dude. Have you watched Floribama Shore?
You're goddamn fucking right. I have because I grew up in Florida and I went to school in Alabama. This is like a dream come true for me.
I watched it all day yesterday. I told Ella about it. I fucking love shows like that.
Oh, just like the trashes. Like we're pretty trash, but it makes us feel better because we're less trash watching.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that they're younger. But I've just never been like that wild.
Oh, baby, that was like growing up for me.
Speaking of wild, how's the panty sales going?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. So we announced last week on the podcast that we were going to try and sell our underwear online for money because why the fuck not? Really, truly, why the fuck not? And I immediately got an offer from someone on Instagram because we didn't know how to really promote this. And
everything about this story makes me so mad. Because I didn't get a single offer and this bitch is about to walk away with
So, okay.
$800?
Listen, no. So it started at $400. I sweet talked this one guy up to $650. All he wanted was like a couple pictures of me wearing it. And so I told him, like, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, you're in the running. I don't really know how long we're going to like do this for, but I figured field a few offers. What I didn't realize though was when I got a message from that guy was that when you're on Instagram, you have like your regular inbox and then inbox from people you don't follow. And so he was in the inbox that I never get to really read. And I scroll up He had fucking offered to buy my panties last year. And I never saw the fucking message. And so here I am just sitting on a gold mine, literally. Who knew my pussy was worth fucking $650 last year? That's 2016 pussy. It's only gotten better. I've been talking with that guy, and obviously he's in the running, right? Anyways, we go out here in Boca, and I meet this guy. I tell him about the podcast. I tell him what I do. I tell him about the panty thing.
Yeah.
He offers $1,000 for the panties.
What the fuck?
So he's like, if no one can beat that, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll throw in $1,000. I don't give a fuck. And I was like, I was about to take off my goddamn underwear right there. And then in the bar, I was eating fucking...
Why didn't you?
I was eating egg rolls and queso dip appetizers. My panties about came right off. But I played it cool. I was like, all right, okay, we'll see. Let me get your info. Blah, blah, blah. So right now, the offer stands at $1,000 for my fucking
But you could sell 2 different pairs of underwear. You could right now make
motherfuckers like that. That devalues.
What are you talking about? I'm not just selling one pair. I'm trying to find a market where I could buy 5 for $20 from Target, wear the shit out of them.
Holiday special, one time only Kelsey Sarah fucking panties. You're gonna sell more than one?
I mean, I'm not getting $1,000 offers. I have to add them up.
Well, someone did message me.
It takes 2 years to make a profit.
It's an investment is how I see it. Someone did message me and said, I don't know Kate's Instagram, which bullshit because we fucking plug it every goddamn week. But he said, I'm poor, but I would give my life for Kate's panties.
No, I don't want it.
Fucking keep it, bro. Fucking keep it. So if you do want to buy either of our underwears, message us on the gram or twits or something where we can talk to you. I'm just starting to read all of my messages now. So, but I did want to also give an update. I just got this Instagram message from our fan that we read her question last week about the 2 dudes.
Did she like it? Did she like our answer?
We answered this girl's question last week about she went on a date with 2 guys and one of the guys saw her on a date and she felt really bad. Yeah, I'll read you what she wrote to me. She said, I think I felt guilty because I was always in a monogamous relationship and now this is the first time I'm actually single in my adult life.
Nailed that shit on the head.
I'm figuring out what I like and enjoying seeing different people at the same time. I'm hanging out with both of them now and I was honest about not being exclusive with either. So
I love this girl.
Now I'm just thinking, I don't have to be in a relationship to have frequent sex, and I don't have to feel guilty for having multiple partners. I think I'm getting out of my head this whole hoe status fear that I had growing up because I learned you should always be with one person. I am a feminist, but always learning how to deconstruct the sexist values. Thanks so much, you guys are amazing.
Damn.
Hell fucking yeah, that's what we strive for.
Wait, could we get her on the podcast?
We should. She's in Germany, right? So it might be
we should just go there.
Yeah, we should go to Germany. I'd go fucking go to Germany.
I want to go to Scotland.
Put it on the universe, baby. Why Scotland?
Or Ireland. Just everyone who I know I've never been to Europe, and everyone who I know who has gone to Europe has found love there.
I found love for 7 days with a guy that made me spit on his face when we were having sex.
Oh yeah, that sparked adult shit.
Yeah, that sparked adult shit.
See?
A video. So.
Trips to Europe changed lives.
Yeah. Oh, it was glorious. And then I never saw him again.
Yeah.
Speaking of love.
Anyway.
I did also want to read. I keep getting messages from people about that one, a couple podcasts ago, when we had talked about heartbreak and loss. And I was talking about that one quote that I couldn't find. I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a little long, but do you think I should just read it and then if it sucks, we can cut it out?
Sure.
Kate, you don't seem very happy about this.
Do it, do it, do it.
It's long.
Do it.
It's like 2
How
pages.
Long? 2 full pages?
Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera. Don't do that. We're not going to keep that. Fuck that.
It's so good, though.
Just tell people where they can find it.
I don't know where they can find it. I wrote it in my journal.
Do you want to share it? Will it make you feel better if you share it?
No. Yeah.
Just go ahead. Go ahead. Go fucking head.
Kate, it's emotional. It makes me emotional. I'll read it really fast, okay? And then just tell me your thoughts. Okay. You won't miss them loudly. You will miss them in the details. You will miss them in the quiet. You will miss them in the empty moments, the still space that fills your day when you can't convince yourself to stop diving into your brain. This is how you will miss them. You will miss them jealously. Your skin will sink when you see they have moved on. Instead of being happy for them, despite trying, you will grip your memories like clenched fists. You will blame them for moving on too quickly. You will judge the person they choose. This does not make you bitter, or crazy. This makes you human. And in your humanness, you will breathe through empty lungs when you see their new flame wearing the same sweater you always reached for when you were cold. You will create hurricanes within your chest when you wonder if they have laughed like you, explored him like you, loved passionately like you. You will never know. This is why you will miss them whatever. You will not miss them wholly. You will miss them in the highlights. You will fail to remember all the mismatched parts that led you to the decision to move forward, that led you to realize that your heart was better off in softer hands. You will miss the morning spent curled up in the arms, forgetting that you never truly felt like you were home. You will miss the springs and the summers of their love, but you will fail to remember the frost that often came between you, the cold chill of their fall, the desolate and unbearable distance of their winter. Above all else, please promise yourself that you will miss them with every inch of your bleeding heart, but do not miss out on life because of it. It is important for you to live through the growing pains, for experiences will slowly pour into your knowledge and your soul will grow wiser. You will see how you have painted over ashy memories with shades of rose and blush. You will remember the winters and how you hated the cold. You will sweat old love out like scarlet fever, and this is how you will miss them no more.
Well, that was worth it.
Wasn't it good?
That was really good.
Oh my God. It just, it makes me so emotional.
What's that from?
It was from, obviously it's someone who writes poems for a living, and they posted it on Thought Catalog.
Got it.
So I have to figure out, I might have even written it down. Oh.
If anybody knows who did that.
Wait, hold on. I wrote it down.
Do you have it?
At Rainbow Salt wrote that.
Dang, that's beautiful.
It was so nice,
go,
right?
Rainbow Salt.
And I think that can apply too to like any kind of loss.
Dude.
Doesn't that make you feel something?
Yeah, that really brought me down. I was doing well. They upped my Prozac dosage and I was doing pretty good.
Shit, how is Prozac going?
It's going well. I like it.
Yeah? Do you want to be brought down even more with our fan question?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is a fan question that I got from Instagram, and then I couldn't fucking find the handle because, like I said, there's one inbox for your people that you follow and one that you couldn't. So I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But this is what the question was. A guy had
It might be better off. It's a pretty sensitive question.
It is yeah, you're right. So a boyfriend had written in saying, "Hi, me and my girlfriend listen to your podcast, so we love it. I wanted to write in from a guy's point of view and ask you something. Please don't mention my name because she also listens to the podcast."
Oh, there we go.
Basically.
So right? Good thing you didn't find his handle.
Right. Basically, he asked, he's in a relationship with this girl who has been sexually assaulted in her past. I don't know how long ago. I don't know by who. But he just found this out about her. And she told him she's fine, she doesn't really need to talk about it, and she just wanted him to know. But now he feels incredibly confused on how to feel about that, knowing that this girl that he's in a relationship with, I'm assuming, I don't know how long they've been dating, but that he cares about, that this terrible thing had happened to her, and he doesn't know what to do with that information. So he basically asked, what does he do, because he feels terrible, even though she said to not bring it up. So we thought that was a really interesting question, just because it's something it's a point of view I've never considered before.
There's so much to that question, it feels like. There's like, one, boundaries. If she says she doesn't want to talk about it, and she says she's fine with it, then you kind of have to just believe her and trust her, and she knows what she's able to talk about. Other side of it, though, is that if it's something that's like really bothering you and making you look at her differently, and you don't want to do that, you don't want to look at her as like wounded or broken or anything like that, that it might be something you guys have to talk about.
Right.
Further unpacking that with running the risk of sounding judgmental, and I hope this isn't, but also, I know it's like a really terrible thing that happens to someone, but if she's pushing through and she's living with it, then you might have to as well. Aww. And there's kind of like a weird stigma about like when women have been hurt and like guys being like, I should have been there to protect you. It's like, chill, dude, this is our reality. This stuff happens. She's not broken, she's in a relationship. If she doesn't want that part of her life to be spoken about right now, then you might have to but you have to figure out where you stand. Do your feelings about the situation, are they gonna get in the way of a relationship? Or is this something that you could be like, oh, I could accept, because that's another thing. I wonder, are you talking to her for her, or are you talking to her for you?
Exactly, that's exactly.
Don't make her pain your thing, because it's still pulling it away. She might not be ready to talk yet.
She brought it up, she felt comfortable telling you about this. And if you're feeling a certain type of way, maybe if it has something to do with your sex life, I think I would be okay with someone bringing it up to me in that way too. Because communication is so important, and like sex life really is, if you guys are having sex, can be, you know, a big trigger, or it could be a big deal for someone that has gone through sexual assault.
Yeah, I think communication is key. So like
Yeah.
if something like that is happening and you're in like those moments and you're not sure if what you're
Yeah.
going to do is going to be triggering, then just give her a heads up.
Yeah.
Say like, I kind of want to do this or whatever. But I think the important thing here is to not turn it into her having to, I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it runs the risk of, even though the intentions might be fully pure and good, it runs the risk of being like, hey, I'm not doing well with the thing that happened to you. So can you now make me calm down about it?
And that's not her job.
I know that it's just hard. It's hard. It's a shitty thing that happens. And that's why stuff like this, that's why people should speak out, because stuff like this affects everyone else. It's not just the women who it happens to.
Yeah, I would say if nothing has changed since she told you, like sexually or emotionally, maybe just leave it, and you can always frame your questions in a communicative way that doesn't bring up the sexual assault.
You could also talk to a professional, like you could.
Ooh, yeah.
There are plenty of people who are able to, much better than us, who are able to be like, this is how you speak, and this is how, like, this is, it's trauma. It's a trauma, and how to deal with the trauma.
Yeah, and I think
But that's a really good question.
It's such a good question, and I'm so thankful that like a male wrote in asking something that he didn't feel comfortable, rather than just like assuming and kind of taking his feelings into action. I think it was really brave of him to ask, and I hope that helps.
So Ella's got to go to a meeting in like 20 minutes. So
should we bring in Kasey?
Let's bring in Kasey. I'm going to intro you. Okay, our guest today I'm so excited about. So I followed her on Twitter because a friend of mine from back home would retweet her all the time, and I thought she was super funny. Then I got out here and I was doing stand-up, and I met her through stand-up, and her story is freaking so cool. She's just so cool, and I've never really met someone so unapologetic about the stuff that they say and the choices that they make. So I can't wait for everyone to meet her. So come on in, Kasey.
Kasey.
Kasey Koop, everyone.
Kasey Koop.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Do I put this on?
Yep.
Cool.
What's
What's up?
Hi, Kasey.
Hey.
Sorry,
Hi.
this is like how we have to do our podcast the first time meeting you. But
It's cool. It's cool.
Thanks so much. I mean, Kate is the funniest person I know, so when she says that there's someone really funny that I need to meet, like, I'm super excited to meet you. And she said we would get along really well, so I'm really excited.
Cool. I want to meet in person at some point.
Yeah,
that's possible.
Let's all go out and hang.
Let's do it.
Okay, so who are you? What do you do? What's your deal?
I guess like in this day and age, like we kind of define ourselves by our titles, and so for me, it's like, it's just the three: comic, stripper, former Playboy columnist. So I'm a writer. And I host my own podcast now. But I think,
What's your podcast called?
It's called Kasey's Freak Show with 2 E's on iTunes under Meltdown Comics Network. So.
Oh shit, I love Meltdown.
Plug. I'm just gonna start your podcast with a plug for my podcast.
That's great. That's how we're doing it.
Amazing.
But yeah, mostly just a stripper and a comedian is like my main
so I looked you up on Instagram last night, and I was watching all of your videos, like, holy fucking shit. I want to know everything. Okay, I should preface this by saying I grew up in Tampa, Florida, which is the strip club capital of the world, or the country at least. Yeah, like better than Vegas, people, or like is voted better than Vegas, I guess. So I grew up like, for fun, we would go to strip clubs. Like Friday and Saturday night, we would like go out to parties, and then we'd end up at the strip club. So I am very familiar with the strip club world. I always said I had definitely been a stripper in a past life, or will be in a future life, because I'm just obsessed with like the beauty and the fucking sexiness that comes with being a stripper.
Cool. It's so cool.
Can you just, I don't know, tell me how you like got into it and what you love about it? Because it's so awesome.
It's interesting because like when I went for the first time, I felt the exact same way you did, which was like just to check out the club. Like I'd never really been before, except for one time when I was like wasted and when I was like 21. When I went in on my own accord, like to go check it out before I auditioned, I felt the same way as you, where I was like, wow, they're gorgeous. Like I think I'm pretty gay. And like, I'm just like, well, like I used to masturbate to like Jasmine of Aladdin and Jasmine. Like that was like
Aladdin and Jasmine.
Not the movie Aladdin, the movie Aladdin and Jasmine.
Look it up, Aladdin and Jasmine. It's really good.
The Jasmine. No, I just feel like women are so much hotter than men.
We're both bi, so we're
yeah.
You
know
gotta
what
tell
I
me
mean?
twice.
And you know, as a stripper, when a lot of girls come in and they might like mean mug you or treat you with disrespect, which does happen, unfortunately, a lot of the time, it makes me sad because like when I came in and checked it out, like I felt like it was just gorgeous to watch, and like I felt the same way as you. But I will say that yes, like back when I was younger, I looked down upon it. Like I was raised in a very conservative, religious small town. I'm from like a small, shitty town in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called like Canby. It's just like a shithole, USA, and like super religious town. So like I just thought strippers were just like horrible deviants, just because that's what was taught to me.
Yeah, we used to talk about how like growing up, a joke would be like, well, if all else fails, I'll be a stripper.
Yeah. Like it's like the metric for being a failure.
Yeah.
And it is.
Dude, it's crazy.
Like sex work is.
Yeah.
Even though I know now, obviously, it's not at all. But I went to college on a full academic scholarship. I overachieved at everything I did. But I always had this fascination with sex workers and with strippers. Like anything taboo
Can you
not
explain
talked about.
what sex work is, like the difference between sex work and stripping?
Stripping is sex work, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people get confused. Like, they always ask me, like, why do you call yourself a sex worker? And it's like, well, that's just, like, how it's categorized. Like, in essence, we are selling some kind of form of sexuality.
So it's not, like, necessarily, like, when people think sex worker, they think prostitution. Like, you're literally
like
selling
straight
sex.
Yes, and I don't do any, like, extras, which include hand jobs, blow jobs, sex, like, anything like that. I am just strictly a stripper. But it is sexual in nature. In some ways, sometimes I think all work is sex work. Like when I think about it, do you know what I mean?
That's what society is built on, is everyone getting laid eventually.
That's the whole thing. I feel like that's all anybody wants.
Like, do you know what I mean though? Like for a long time I was a server in restaurants, and like I did the exact same thing, which was flirting to make tips. Like the exact same way even.
But you had to remember more and do more. Like it's shittier to
it's like worse tips and more disrespect and less control over your
and dirty plates.
Yeah. Like you're handling garbage. No, but I guess how I got into it was like this fascination for years and years and years. I was a dancer in high school. It's a long story, but I was a sex addict for a couple years there. In my drug and alcohol addiction, I'm sober now.
Awesome.
I have like all this crazy like Scorpio sexuality. And I'm a dancer, and I'm good at selling myself, you know what I mean? Like that's what you do in stand-up. You're just like peddling yourself to a crowd of people.
She's a great stand-up as well.
Oh my God, I love
I want to talk about that too, but I'm so fascinated by the stripper label. I want to know more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so how I got into it was just that fascination, and I was sort of bottoming out on all my addictions at that point. And because I always had that thing where I was like, oh, if I become a stripper, then I'm, you know, technically a failure at life kind of thing. But I had given up all of those ideas because I was bottoming in my addictions, and I just didn't care anymore about what people thought, which is like an odd way to get into it. Most girls do not get into stripping, you know, bottoming in drugs and alcohol and sex addictions. Right. They're just like, oh, like this is a job that I can do. But I was always too scared because I was an overachiever, and I thought that would mean I was a bad person and not deserving of love and whatever. Or it would mean I'd never have a boyfriend again, even though I'd been single for many years at that point because I just had a lot of issues, basically.
Right, but it had nothing to do with the stripping.
No. And again, this is not most girls' story. I just have a very crazy one.
Well, I was gonna ask, because like there is a stigma attached to like that I don't know, I think it's just the way the media portrays it, that like it is this like night job with that's when everyone's on the drugs and the drinking, and that's where like
it's this underworld.
Right, and it's
like where the mob
case.
hangs out.
It's really like an art form in a lot of ways.
Totally. I think there's two sides of it, and I read this comic that Jack the Stripper, she's amazing, she illustrated of an older sex worker stripper said, which was like, stripping, it's like you gotta ride the wave like you're surfing, like, cause there is like, just ride the wave, like stay above the current, because there is an underbelly to it, there is a seedy side. But there's also like a very fun, lighthearted goofiness. It's like a bunch of girls. You feel like you're in high school, like joking around all the time and just like grabbing each other's butts. And it's very like immature and silly and fun.
Yeah, and all your videos, you're like smiling, which I thought, I remember when you like posted one video, I was like, she's smiling in this?
Yeah.
She's just so, like, because you're just like just happy and like feeling yourself and doing
it's portrayed by a male-run media as
that's what I was gonna say.
How they interpret it.
If you look at now, like the way even pole dancing is sweeping the nation as a form of exercise, and like middle American 40s housewives are now taking pole dancing classes. It's like this is not the same, you know, Miami sort of like veiled sort of fucking underworld like you mentioned. There's so much to it.
He and I were talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that
podcast
earlier.
About how like these girls in pole classes, and no hate on them, like a lot of girls do stripping and some are pole instructors. Like, you know what I mean? I know girls. But in pole class, like you're paying to do the exact same thing that I do in the club.
For money.
for money. And if they're wearing the same things I wear, they're moving the same way, and it's so there has to be something about it that is so cathartic and wonderful, or else no woman would do it if it was truly that terrible.
And it's like it feels like not double-edged sword. It's hypocritical. Whatever.
Yeah, hypocritical.
Like, because
double
so
standard?
much of like double standard. Boom, there it is.
We got there.
Because so much of like what we do as women, it feels like it's to make ourselves look good and like for almost like the male gaze, right?
Yeah.
So it's weird that when women are like, oh, okay, you want me to do all this for the gaze? Okay, I'm gonna make money off of it. If I do it anyway, I'm gonna make money off it, and I'm gonna have fun doing it.
And have fun doing it.
Because it is a power. And
if I hated it, I would just go work a different job. Like there's other jobs.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I feel like an argument people would say is like, well, the money's so good that like I'll put up with a lot of shit because of the money. But like,
you know
Everyone does that in every job. Everyone does that in every job.
I've seen strippers like in Miami who could make like a couple grand a night, and then I've seen strippers who make like $200, and they're like, they just like doing it.
200 is like a pretty okay night, to be honest. It's not that good anymore. The industry's dying. There's internet porn, there's Tinder. There's lower priced escorts. There's a dying middle class. There's like so many reasons why.
I mean, like
the industry
Tinder
is not
is
good.
the fucking internet version of a strip club. I completely agree with you. Yeah, how do you feel about like something that's you're watching kind of the industry the same way that like we're kind of watching magazine and print kind of go out of business?
Yes.
Like, is there a next step that you can kind of take your talents to?
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I'm at work sometimes and we're all like looking at each other like the girls and we're like, I'm just like, I feel like I'm on a sinking Titanic right now. but I still have enough like good nights that make up for it. And just when I start looking into other jobs, I realize like I only work 3 nights. And so what stripping affords me is a lot of free time to write, read, edit, perform, like follow my passions. And I do love dancing. Like dance has always been a huge like
so good
release
at it.
for me.
I was like,
oh my God, thank you.
I was like,
wow.
My phone was like inches away from my face. I was like laying in bed, just like, oh my God. I do want to ask about like dating. Is that something you bring up on like a first date? Do you put it in like your Tinder profile? Like what's dating like? Because it's already fucking a mess in LA to date.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a tall order. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh my God. Like when I went into the industry, I think one of my biggest things that I was scared of was that no one would ever date me, right? But I had sort of creeped on all these girls. So the club I work at is like the best club in LA. I just love it.
Can you plug it?
Yeah, Cheetah's Hollywood. I love
Where's
Cheetah's
that?
so much.
We should go.
It's in Los Feliz. You guys should definitely
Oh my God,
come.
I've never been, and I thought I've been to every strip club in Los Angeles.
Ella wants to go too.
What I'm saying
Ella
was
said we're going.
She just raised her hand and pointed at herself.
Hell yeah.
She's like, been there. Made her rain on those bitches. No, but I looked at all the girls' pages and I noticed like before I ever auditioned that some of them were married, some of them had boys, but in my head I was like, that means no one will ever date me. And yes, initially, I've had a boyfriend for over a year now. We've been together, and I love him very much. And he knew about my job going into it. And the best thing I learned was to be upfront about it. Like just be and not like when we met, I was not looking for someone, which obviously is what you always hear about dating. But before him, I was like thirsty, and I was on Tinder, and I was like, I danced at a bikini bar. Like I was so scared to say it.
What the fuck is a bikini bar?
It's a strip club, but you don't take off your top or your bottom.
Okay,
we give
sure. No one's going to fucking those places.
No,
that's what hers is.
That is mine.
Oh, never mind. We're going.
No, but it's cool.
I'm
like,
spoiled. I grew up in Florida. Like, I had a vagina in my face when I was like 13, okay? That's what I'm used
Brag.
to.
Yeah, I love that that's, I'm like, yes, that's literally the best. Yeah, so he knew about it going into it, and I think I was just at that point not like pandering to people. I was just like, I'm gonna live my best life, be my happiest me, and not apologize. And that will always attract the right person to you. Because you're not like trying to just like water yourself down for some guy who's not fucking secure in himself.
Wait, I do want to ask about the Bikini Bar. Why do people go if they don't see boobs and vag?
And vagina.
That, like, Jumbo's is one of my favorite places because it's like you go and the environment is just so fun and sexy and like it's a great place to go. But I'm trying to think in a dude's mind, what's like the appeal?
Yeah, it's like Jumbo's, but we give more lap dances.
More personal.
I don't know. I think like honestly, a lot of guys are so nervous about strip clubs. When they walk in, even to the Bikini Bar, they're scared shitless. Like they need a couple drinks in them. Like if you talk to a guy straight out the gate who's sober, like 95% of the time, he's like way too nervous to talk to you.
Oh, that's the big difference, is that you can drink in a Bikini Bar.
You can, in LA, like full nude, there's no booze. You can do topless with booze.
Yeah, because in Florida, it's the same, is that you can't drink alcohol.
Oh, really?
At some places, yeah. So, like, if you want to drink, you go to a Bikini Bar. But if you're already, like, fucked up, then you would go to, like, the full
That's very
nude.
intense.
So that makes so much more sense.
You can do topless with a full bar in LA. But the thing is, guys are scared of girls. Like, they literally tell me it's less intimidating when we're wearing like clothes. I don't know, because they still get lap dances, you know what I mean? But they just they're scared of women. Like it's like they're scared of us even just wearing bikinis. They're scared of pretty girls.
How fucking confident do you have to be a stripper? You can't be like, well, like I don't know, I've never been. I'm all totally 100% assuming, but like I would think a guy would be like, wow, this is the most confident way I can interact with a woman. I don't know. I feel like everyone should go to strip clubs or bikini bars. Like they're such a good experience.
It's like you see all these free women, and for me, like it freed me. You know, like I was with a group of girlfriends yesterday, and like I'm no hate on them. It's just like, and they were not strippers.
Names. No, I'm just kidding.
They were not strippers, but every girl was like saying something bad about her body. You know, like that scene in Mean Girls where they're like looking in the mirror. Everyone kept doing that. They were not strippers. And then I just sat there like eating fudge like quietly, like because I don't feel bad about my body hair, or if I'm not having a fat day, or things I used to like fucking hate myself for, because you're just like running around in your underwear and you just stop caring at a certain point, and it doesn't matter anymore, and you just get this like inner confidence that's just
that's so
level.
cool.
Yeah,
I feel like that might be why. Oh, I'm gonna get heat for this, but I feel like that might be why people get so much, like strippers and sex workers get such a bad name on them, because it is like a power switch.
Wow,
it's
total
fully
switch.
understanding your power and being like, oh, I don't need you. And then I feel like society sort of built off of need. So it's sort of like, no, you should feel this way or that way about your body or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, more than, I mean, no hate on porn or anything like that, but I feel like strip clubs and bikini bars, you see what like real women look like, you know what I mean? And like you're up close and personal and stuff.
There's girls of all sizes, of all like just like personal style, color, and like just like, but all these different kinds of girls just like owning their shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the most freeing thing to be around.
What's the most fun story you have from working at either like a strip club or a bikini bar?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I've done private nude events before, so I have done like some other things.
Wait, what's a private nude event?
Oh God.
Wait,
I don't know.
weren't you, we could cut this out.
What?
Weren't you at house before?
Oh, I went to house, but that was not for dancing. That was just because I'm a bad bitch.
Bitch, you've been to house? Can we please keep this in? That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I signed an NDA. Is that what
so
they're
you
so
can't.
no.
Oh, we can't. But so you've been to a very famous rapper's house before?
And oh my God, that was not to do with stripping. That was just because like, I know a lot of people. No, I don't know. It was crazy.
Wait, do you know about sex parties? Because I've been trying to go to a fucking sex party in LA. Sorry if that's assumptive of me to assume that you would know.
People do ask me, but I'm like, honestly, like, That's not my thing at all.
I want to go so fucking bad. That's all I want to do. If I could do that,
she actually asked me to text you to ask about that, and I forgot.
Oh, that's funny. I've heard people tell me about them all the time, but I've never. You mean like a swingers party?
Yeah, or like a voyeurism sort of thing. Like, I really just don't think I would even need to try and date in LA if I could just go to the sex parties.
Fair. There's honestly, I've heard that the swingers I know are like hot, and when I was shocked by that, I was like, hot people do this? Yeah, that sounds cool.
Well, if you know any of them, my handle is @KelseyDara. Please tell them to invite me. Cool. So then how did you get into comedy? Because that's so fucking awesome. Like, how do you balance that schedule? Because it's both nighttime jobs.
Oh, God. I only work 3 nights, and stand-up, I moved here for 6 years ago. I was like, it's what I always wanted to do since I was a kid. I just would obsessively watch stand-up, just any form of comedy on TV. And then when I was in college, I was miserable as I was studying. I'd just go and read comedy blogs and comedians' autobiographies. That was my version of studying to be a comedian.
Yeah.
How did they do it?
Reading Steve Martin, Born Standing Up. That's the Bible, right?
I know that's what everyone says, but I would just read female comics books.
Yeah.
I don't care about
my wall.
comedians.
Ask Kate. My wall at home is just
it's
Mindy's books.
Yeah.
Amy, Tina.
Same. And Kathy Griffin's is actually the best of all. Anyone out there want to read it? It's the best of them all.
Oh, okay. I'm going to get it.
I think she's so underrated. She's one of my most favorites, and she's such a hard worker.
Yeah.
People really shit on her, but she's a genius.
Everyone gets shit on, though. All the girls stand-ups
all the girls.
They
just get shit on.
Always.
The second they get to a certain level,
they're just torn down.
And fucking I don't know how you guys do it. I did stand up for a little bit out in Los Angeles, and I don't miss it a fucking bit.
That's the thing is this last year. So I moved here for it 6 years ago. I was grinding, but I got sober 2.5 years ago.
Woo.
And this last year, I just mental health wise, I wanted to get right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sober and I'm not drinking all the feelings away of the misery and the toxic energy. And so I really pulled back on it. I love being on stage. I don't like all the bullshit that goes with it, as you fucking know.
Yeah. Open mics are truly
I'm writing a lot of things.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I feel too with the internet these days, you don't have to subject yourself to the fucking. And in a weird way, sometimes women will be like, if you can make it as a female comic, then you're really you really made it. And I'm like, I don't want to be fucking minimized and verbally abused and mentally
sexually harassed literally.
Did you always have this? People would, whenever I would go to an open mic, I would always get I'd see the guys shake hands and then they'd always hug me, and it used to piss me off so much because I was just shake my hand.
Totally didn't feel it doesn't feel like an equal.
Yeah, it always felt oh, good for you for trying out, but. Let the men get back to their stuff.
Yeah, for real. I feel the same way. And when I stopped drinking and doing drugs, I was like, oh, this hurts my heart and my soul, and I want to be happy. That's my ultimate goal. And I always fucking say that about the internet. It's gotten me my writing jobs, and now I'm working on a pilot with a friend we're gonna make. Woo. I'm writing a book.
Hell yeah. Oh man, I cannot wait to read that.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, do you have a publisher or any of that stuff yet?
A literary agent.
Yeah. Bitch, go for it.
If anyone's listening.
Email me back, Robert.
She's got some stories.
She's got stories and people will buy this book.
Do you think you're funny or sober?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I just had this conversation the other day with a friend. I used to think that whole oh, I'm so broken and I have so much damage and I need to be fucked up to be funny, because that's what you convince yourself of, and the disease of alcoholism convinces you of that you need it to be. No, when I stopped drinking and doing drugs, my brain restored to full health, and it was shooting out the joke so much better because I was alive and present, and you know what I mean? I used to just think I needed that, and I think my mind, I had a weird upbringing. I'm a weird person. My mind is clever and thinks differently, so I will always be able to think of funny jokes. Yeah. But, I'm already rewired that way.
I talked with Kate about this all the time, that it's also just a cultural shift. I feel 2-3 years ago when Amy Schumer was getting popular and you were seeing that self-deprecating women can be selling out Madison Square Garden, it was fine to be I'm flawed and I'm fucked up and now I own that. And I feel now a lot of women are confident in their flaws, and kind of how we were talking about being a hot mess was cute. Now with what's going on in the fucking world and just the political climate and shit, it's not cute to be, it's a little selfish to be oh, I'm fucked up. It's like, just look around at what is going on to other people. And like, I think it's just also you have to change with the season, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I feel it's so funny you say that because I feel like I've been talking about that with friends so much because the self-deprecating thing is like, it's easy. And I think for male comics, it's their way of being like, I'm vulnerable. Like every male comic has a bit about his small dick. Well, then that's not being vulnerable.
We know you have a small dick. You're on stage.
We can feel it.
We know.
But it's like they're pretending to be vulnerable by making fun of themselves. And I think we all should have humility. There's humor in humility, but I realized like before I got sober, I was literally suicidal. And on stage, I'd just be tearing myself down because I hated myself. And audiences weren't even feeling that. They were feeling sorry for me.
Yeah, that's another thing. For women, I feel like a lot of times when we do self-deprecating stuff, there's a very fine line because between it being funny and it being like, oh no, are you okay, honey? But a guy could kind of say the same thing and it doesn't get quite as looked at. But I wanted to ask you about how you, because you grew up very conservative.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my family was. I wasn't really. I think I was taught a lot of things I had to unlearn, but I was unlearning just naturally. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. That's just kind of how I am.
How'd your family take it?
I'm so excited. I
I'll
love
answer both.
the fact that you like let go of that stuff and you like listen to your own voice. I feel like that's so important. I feel like our listeners really like that. And like, could you talk a little bit about how to let go of judgment? Like you became all this stuff in the middle of, like, I can't stress this enough, in the middle of stand-up like culture and being like all this, like the safety and judgment and society and all this stuff, and you got rid of all of it, you got sober, you started dancing, you started doing all this stuff for you. How did you have that?
How did you do that?
How did
that happen?
How do I sum this up in 10 seconds? Please read The Tasteful Nude on Playboy.com. That probably says a lot more than I could say right here and now. But essentially, I have always had to listen to like my inner voice because I grew up in a small town where I literally was made fun of constantly. Like I was called a weirdo and a freak. I was weird and I developed a sense of humor to cope. But at the same time, I bonded with the other weird kids. You know what I mean? Like they were my people.
It's a gift. It's a gift to be kind of on the outside, like
it's
a little
cool.
freak.
It was painful at the time, but right now I'm 29 now, and I made this joke on Twitter the other day how like, oh, I'm finally the confident older me I want to be, but it took 29 years.
True.
Like,
it takes fucking time. Even when you feel like you have it down, you fucking don't. Like you're never done growing. You're never done. Like you can change. You can morph at any age. It's never too late. Like truly. Like that's where midlife crises come from, and we stigmatize it by calling it a crisis. But I think it's like sometimes it's people finally just doing what they want rather than following the fucking social norms.
You only get this one gift, you use it.
I think you have to just like try some stuff out. I had so many itches to scratch because I went to college on the scholarship. I did all of that to follow the beaten path I was supposed to. But after college, I moved to LA to follow my dreams, and I really let loose. And when I started stripping, I was so scared because I had always had to have straight A's. Like I always had to be the best in every club, every team, the captain and the leader and this and that. And I was like, I don't want to be a failure, you know, like that's what I perceived it as. But I always thought I'd be good at dancing, you know, good at the job. And I'm like, let me just dabble and see where this takes me, because even though I was so afraid of what people would think and like excommunicating me or making fun of me, but I did it because I had this itch I needed to scratch. And it turns out like I got sober around the same time I started stripping. In that work, like there are drugs available. You know, you can go to a dark place pretty quickly if you want.
But that's like LA. Like you can find that in any town. Like it doesn't, I mean, maybe more so that it's available in stripping or sex work.
Or
but
LA.
like, I like what you said about scratching your itches. Like to all the listeners out there, I think more people should scratch their itches. And
yeah, I don't have any regrets. Like that's my biggest fear, is like looking back on my life and being like, I should have tried that or done that.
Yeah.
No, like follow your heart, because I just think the universe has something bigger for all of us planned if we just like follow our truth and what our light, like where our light is, you know, like
living testament of it. I freaking love it.
Thank you.
So where could people follow you? Where could they find you?
On Instagram and Twitter at Kasey Koop, KaseyKoop.
Thanks so much for coming on, Kasey. You're awesome. We want to have you back for sure.
I want to talk to you guys for hours, like off.
We will.
Like,
You're gonna come back.
Good.
You're gonna come back for sure. And when I get back in LA, we'll do the hangout thing. This was so awesome. Let's give our shout outs for the week. My shout outs for the week are at VulNHS, at Rich6281, at Ali Diaz, at Miss Monica B, at Yoga Ray, at Dr. Blackstein. I know I had a lot this week.
You had a lot. I only have one.
Oh, okay.
I want to shout out again Mandy Singh. She's going through some stuff right now. She's like so positive, and I'm so just proud to talk to her. And she's seriously so cool, and I feel like she might like cats as much as I do.
Wow.
And if we could all just send her some good vibes, she's
Mandy
great
Singh.
person.
Singh.
Yeah.
Guys, next week you'll be at home and I'll be at home. And guys, we have a really special episode. We're so excited to tell you.
We both have a guest.
We both have a special guest. They are
the reason we are
the way we are. We're gonna have our sisters on. Kate has an older sister. I have an older sister. It's gonna be a fucking shit show. I think I might even drink for it. So you definitely want to come back next week. If you have anything you want us to talk about, tweet at us. You can find me on all the things at Kelsey Darrow. You can find Kate Peterman at Kate Peterman on Instagram and at KTP on Twitter. Don't forget to go rate us and review us in iTunes. Hashtag Kate's gonna come.
Wait, maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
I don't know. I feel like people in Philadelphia are a lot more forward, and maybe I'll fuck someone there.
Hey,
probably not.
Put it out in the universe, bitch. Let's
I would like to. There's a few people who come to mind.
No pun intended.
There is pun intended, but I'm better than that.
All right, bitch. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Okay, bye.